Hi guys! Today we're going to learn about one-point perspective, which is an artist's trick to drawing something three-dimensional. So we're going to be applying this technique to the letters in our name, in our graffiti tag with our name. But we're going to start by doing some practice drawings. And I'd like you to, if you're watching this, reviewing from class, if you missed class, I'd like you to follow along, right? So I'll do a step, pause the video, do it yourself on your paper or in fresh paint, and follow along that way. All right, so we're going to do some practice drawings, and then we're going to apply it to our drawing tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to start with the simplest thing, which is a box. So if I draw a square on my page, I'm going to choose a vanishing point. So the vanishing point is the place where if you were to look really far into the distance, way far away in the horizon, where everything would be so far away that it's so small you can't see it anymore. It vanishes, right? So you're going to pick a place to represent that vanishing point, and it can really be anywhere except for inside the box, right? So anywhere outside the box works. I'm going to put mine right here. So I'm going to change the colors of my pencil just so you see the different steps, right? So this is step one. Now I'm going to find the corners that face the vanishing point, right? So these three corners that I marked are the corners that I'm going to be using. I don't need to use this fourth corner because if I were to draw a line connecting this corner to the vanishing point, it would go right through my box, right? So I'm looking for the lines that, or the corners that if connected with the vanishing point, it will not go through the box, okay? So I'm going to connect these corners to my vanishing point. Okay, so that's step number 2. Step number 3, right? So I'm going to highlight this line and this line. For these two lines, the ones between the points that I connected to the vanishing point, I need to make a parallel of those two lines, kind of a copy, a little bit further up between my orange lines. Right, that is the back end of my box. And now I can erase the orange lines beyond that end of the box. Right. So if you had trouble with that, I'd like you to go back and try it again. If you're good with that, let's move on to a letter, a slightly more complicated shape. All right, so I'm going to go back to my green for step number 1, and let's do a J. Okay. A lot of students with J names. Okay, so I'm just going to start by drawing a block letter J. And I'm going to identify the corners, right? So all of the corners that if I were to draw a line from the corner to the vanishing point, that line would be going over the background, right? Not the J itself. And then there's one part that's a little bit tricky about some letters, which is if you have a curve, right? So I'm trying to find on this curve, I need kind of the outermost point, right? The point where it's sticks out the furthest if you're connecting it with a straight line from the vanishing point, right? So you want to make a line that just barely touches this curve. So let's start with that one. All right, so I'm trying to get the straightest line I can. And if you're doing this on paper, it would be useful to use a ruler. If we were in person in real class, you would be using a ruler for this. If you don't want to have one, we're just doing our best to make the straightest lines we can. Okay, and the last step is to close off the end of this J. Right now it's kind of going off into infinity. So I'm going to copy this line, this curve. All right, so all of the lines that are between the points that I've made, and then I also need this line, this curved line. All right, so I'm going to make a parallel. Parallel, and then, all right, now I can erase my extra lines. And I've got a 3D J. So I'd like you to practice this with the box, with a few letters, before you move on to your drawing. And if you want me to see me demo any other specific letters, feel free to ask me in class. You could also try checking YouTube for a specific demo. There are infinite demos on YouTube. Again, it's called 1 point perspective. That's what you're looking for if you want to do that. But that is the basic technique we're going to be using. All right, thanks.